This is the Boxing Roundtable. It's your man Jose, the Dominican Dream, alongside my man
BX Sean, also known as the Maniac.
and we back, baby. Once again, ready to talk boxing. We're coming off a weekend of some solid fights for the diehard fans. We had Frank Martin versus Artem Harutyunyan, and let's dig right into it, man. Of course, we also had on the zone. We had the Alicia the Bomb Baumgartner versus Christina Leonardo, to another Dominican fighter. We also had on the undercard of that fight, Andy Cruz in his pro debut 10-rounder against Juan Carlos Burgos. And again, on Showtime, on that undercard, we had Elvis Rodriguez versus Victor Postol. Let's get right into it. Sean, Frank Martin. I like Frank Martin.
Mm-hmm.
He's a solid fighter, man, and he fought a very composed fight.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that he brings that. He reminds me a little bit of Tim Bradley in that he's very intense and he's very dedicated to what he does. I think that, Tim Bradley fought on a higher level, was a better fighter. And as we know, as we heard on the commentary, Martin comes from a background of where he played football and other sports. So he started boxing late. He picked up boxing at about, I think it was 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
In this fight, though, I recently saw, to get ready to watch this fight, I saw the Frank Martin versus the Dominican Jackson Mariñez. And that was I liked the Martin that I saw there. I think he was more aggressive, he was more energetic, more enthusiastic. And in this fight, for some reason, he was being real economic. And I like his composure. I like that he's cool, calm, and collected. Mm-hmm. But I would have liked to see him be more energetic and be more enthused in the ring like he has been in his previous fights.
Yes.
I think that they asked him in the post-fight interview, he said that he felt his reaction time was off or his timing was off. Yeah. So I said, hey, maybe he caught an injury during camp. Maybe he just wasn't feeling great. Mm-hmm. And, of course, to add to that, Artem Harutyunyan out of Armenia, fights out of Germany, came to fight.
Yeah.
He came to fight.
He did.
But I like the jab that Martin was using. I like his composure. I thought that maybe he was practicing patience. I thought that he was looking to perhaps catch Harutyunyan with a counter punch. But as the fight went on, it seemed like he really never really let it go until the later rounds where he eventually dropped him. Or Harutyunyan took a knee.
Which he did. Yes.
To grade this performance, I would have to give it a B for Frank Martin. I think he could do better. I think he's better than what we saw. But I think I did see a lot of things that I liked in there. The jab. I also see a lot of Spence rubbing off on him. I like the way he places his body punches. If you look at his body punch placement, beautiful, perfect, well turned around, fist and wrist when he lands shots to the body. And he not only does he use intelligence, and not only has he shown us the dog in him.
Yeah.
But he also shows that he uses intelligence similar to Errol Spence, where some people might think that Errol is pure dog. Absolutely not. Errol is one of the most fundamental fighters on the pound-for-pound list.
Correct.
Along with having that dog and that grit and that just sheer pressure. What were your thoughts on the fight? Again, I give Martin a B. I thought the fight wasn't very exciting. It was more for the purists, but it was good to see Frank Martin in action. And I got something else to say, in which includes Isaac Pitbull Cruz.
Yeah. Frank the Ghost Martin was, to me, a subpar performance, right? From our standards, based on we know what this fighter's capable of and based on what he had in the ring with him. But that's to credit Harutyunyan because he came to fight. He didn't come to be an opponent. And what happens a lot of the times, Dream, these Europeans that come to America for the first time that we don't know much about could be hit or miss. We've seen them come to America and get cooked in 2-3 rounds. That's what happens. And some of them come and be tough. Sandor Martin, perfect example, right? And believe it or not, I thought about you, and I forgot to mention this when I sent you the message earlier. He gave me Sandor Martin vibes, Harutyunyan, where he looks like he might be that fighter, win, lose, or draw, you're not going to look good against him. Whether you beat him or not, you're not going to look good against him. He just has a very awkward style, very low output, but he has a very good jab. And if you have a very good jab in boxing, and he caught Martin a lot with that jab, and the announcers was talking about it, it's going to keep you in a lot of fights, right? Because everything starts with what?
The jab.
There you go. But
The most important punch.
most important punch. Everything starts and ends. But I would say this, right, on Frank Martin's stance. He dogged his way to a decision, and that's what I like, right? He wasn't complaining. He bit down, and he got aggressive. And that knee that Harutyunyan took in the 12th, yeah, it wasn't from a punch, but it was accumulation of punches where he said his eye was already, and that wasn't from a head, but that was from punches. He took a knee. Martin was attacking the body. It was beautiful, right? To me, it would have been nice to see him start a little earlier. Maybe he took his opponent lightly. I don't know. He said he was off, right? His his reaction time. And I know Jim Gray kept poking at him. He said, I just, that's what it was. But is it a reason why? No. Maybe there is something that was lingering that he doesn't want to say, which I respect.
Well, you're not going to look good every fight.
Correct. And that's what I'm saying. And Harutyunyan don't look like that kind of fighter that's going to
allow you to.
But with that being said, he got the win. It could be debatable. It can be debatable. If you tell me in these comments Harutyunyan won, I won't be mad at you.
There's a guy by the name of Isaac Pitbull Cruz who Frank Martin himself has been calling out. And he's saying, let's do it. And he actually said that he proposed a fight to Pitbull Cruz. And I want to say, I like Pitbull Cruz. I like these action fighters. I like these tough guys. Usually these Mexican fighters and foreign fighters, they don't care who they fight.
Correct.
You line them up, they fight them.
Yeah.
But I guess since he has such a good performance against Gervonta Davis, his team and they have some kind of sense that they are on a superstar level, that they're elite fighters. Not saying that they're not, because at 135, yes, Isaac Cruz is an elite fighter.
At 135,
At 135.
I will
as far as, and he's Mexican, so we know he will bring people out. But he's not an established yet. He hasn't headlined by himself a fight. Gervonta Davis, he headlined because it was a Gervonta Davis fight.
Many times.
But he hasn't headlined himself a main event yet that is pay-per-view, or even, if I can recall, for a while now, just a regular Showtime fight. His team has to be a bit more humble and have to be a bit more realistic. And Tank doesn't want that fight again, and I don't blame him. It was a fight that was tough, but Tank was able to edge out by maybe 2 rounds. If they asked, you don't ask me, they asked Tank in the ring if he wanted that fight again, if he would give Isaac Cruz a rematch, and he said no. So he got over that. It was a tough fight, and but this
No, go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead.
You have Gervonta's trainer,
Calvin Ford,
who I like and respect. Shout out to him, saying that I guess he got that throwback mentality, an old school cat. Always one of them cats that always got the Bluetooth, and he probably take a shot with that Bluetooth shit in his ear. Yeah. But he said he would like to see that fight again because it was a tough fight. Yeah, but he wasn't the one fighting. It was Tank fighting, and Tank wouldn't want that again. Now, I'm not saying that he wouldn't, but I'm saying that he would like to have other things go on.
No.
But before we get there, bottom line is Pitbull, your team, Isaac Pitbull Cruz, your team, your father, who I don't know if that's his manager as well. Well, he's actually under Manny Pacquiao. So he's Manny Pacquiao and PBC. That's the association that I've seen him with, because the guy who's the president of Manny Pacquiao Promotions is always in his corner.
Yeah.
Be humble. Fight. Frank Martin is a fighter on the rise, just like you, who's a top lightweight.
Yeah.
He wants that smoke. Give it to him.
And a doable fight.
And I also heard, and we heard Shakur spreading rumors that he proposed to fight Isaac Pitbull Cruz, and his team didn't want it, and he didn't want it, and he was calling Pitbull a duck and all that. Nah, baby, you can't let that happen. You got to step up to the plate. You can't chase one fighter for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You got that fight. It just happened that you got that fight because Riley couldn't make it.
Correct.
So, you fell into that opportunity. You made a name for yourself. The name is made. Yeah. Now, if you're if you're only trying to keep that name elevated by fighting Tank, then you might never keep it elevated. You got to keep on fighting. You got to fight who they put in front of you and fight other good fighters. And just like Tim Tszyu was saying, I ain't waiting for nobody. I'm going to stay busy.
Yes.
So fight Frank Martin, fight Shakur. Honestly, I think that Shakur said that, but I honestly think that Bob Arum, in my opinion, knows that that's for the very young Stevenson. It's a fight that he can lose, and he doesn't want to put him in that predicament now. He'd rather see him be a bit more seasoned and marinated and then put him up against big names, because Isaac Cruz is a fight that Isaac Cruz is a fighter that anyone could lose to. But that's my 2 cents on that. What do you think about that?
No, well, so just before, as per Calvin Ford, he said that Tank, it's not him, Tank said they want the fight, right? This was after the Ryan Garcia. Now, me personally,
I haven't heard that.
If the rematch happens, fine. Is it a fight that I'm salivating for? Absolutely not.
It's going to be a good scrap, though.
It will. But I think there's more meat at 135 for Cruz to get through before we could say, you know what? It's time for that rematch.
I agree.
And it's not yet. And you said it. The team has to say, yo, we got to go through the fire. Tank gave us a chance. We gave him a tough fight. We got to beat people.
But it's hard, nigga, because you got Tank Cruz saying, I already fought Tank. I've been in the ring with him. I shared the ring with him. It was a 7-5 kind of fight. He could argue he won, right? Being that he was a pressure fighter or it was a draw or whatever.
Yeah.
And for him, having already been there, he feels like he's on that stage. That's how Pitbull Cruz feels. Was like, yo, I already been in there with the elite. I'm not trying to fight.
Well,
I'm not trying to fight CB fighter. I'm trying to fight A fighter. Yeah. But he got to understand that's not entirely how this works.
So let's just see, right? Just to end on the whole Pitbull Cruz, he's fighting. He's the co-main event on the biggest fighter this year. Let's see how he looks.
And he's fighting a guy that I never seen fight before.
Me neither.
Have you seen him fight before?
No. How he looks, how he performs, and let's see what comes out his mouth that night. Because I'm going to be listening, and the world's going to be watching. Cruz is, without a doubt, one of the most fan-friendly fighters in the sport. A fighter that's pretty much must-see whenever he's on TV, whenever he's fighting. And we will all be glued to our TVs to see how he performs. He needs an A1 performance. You want the A1 fights, you need A1 performances. So we'll see.